thanks for today. It's been an absolutely amazing talk, and I know on behalf of the group as well, but everyone's thoroughly enjoyed it. So something that I wanted to ask is, how would people kind of get into a forestry career? Is there any kind of training courses or anything that's available locally?
Really, really good question. I went to Myerscough, which is still up and running, and there's lots of courses there, mainly in arboriculture, or there's some land management courses. Then I went to Newton Rig in Penrith. That's sold this year. So the only forestry close to me that we went to in Penrith has gone. But what I would say would be to look on the Institute of Chartered Foresters on their website, to look at some of the careers path. I chose during lockdown to become a chartered professional. So when all the clubs were stopped with my boys, I ploughed my time in, and I've now got letters after my name equivalent to that degree that I never got, just by taking that time back for me. And I would say that the professionals, if you email the Institute of Chartered Foresters or anyone at Myerscough as well, they will point you in the right direction. This is a growth sector within our country, and there are loads and loads of different jobs that are open. There's a ladies in Arb section of the Arboricultural Association, because that's one of them jobs, tree climbing, where actual physical strength, you know, there's two kinds of tree climbers. There's either people with a lot of upper body strength, or like racing snakes that can get their own body weight up into a canopy of a tree. Well, why not, ladies? There's loads of great ladies who are arboriculturalists.
Hi, sorry, you've mentioned sort of that it's quite a physical job being in the forestry industry. So I was wondering whether there is an age limit to people joining. So if somebody was changing a career sort of later on in their lives, whether that's a recommendation we could make.
So you've got to think about all the different jobs that are involved in forestry, I guess you're talking about now. Because radio, you can be 150 and keep prattling on. That's what I'm hoping for. That's my pension plan, just keep working. But if you think about the planning aspects, if you think about community liaison that has to happen, about the biodiversity matrix and scoring that's got to happen, because we shouldn't just be planting trees everywhere. We should be planting the right trees in the right places. So that all involves research and field work. So it's not necessarily all on the end of a spade. So once you start looking into the careers, and you start looking at some of the woodland management stuff as well, that isn't necessarily just cutting down trees or coppicing, but, you know, bat boxes, hibernaculums, working with nature to increase biodiversity, then I would say, you know, I know ecologists in the 70s that can work within the forestry as well in that field. And driving machinery, by the way, the machinery that goes in and harvests timber that we need, and, you know, we do need a thriving forestry industry in terms of trees as a crop in this country for our own security of supply. We saw all that with the toilet rolls and such like at the beginning of the pandemic. We need paper in this country. That's part of the, you know, I'm building timber as well, you know, capturing carbon in timber, as opposed to making paper out of it, means that carbon's then locked away. If that's your beam in your house, then it's locked there forever, isn't it? But the machines, driving the machines now are all joysticks, and there's not the same jumping in and, you know, having to be, I don't know, going to gym 5 times a week just to control the things. They're all on, you know, feather-light touching kind of. If you can drive a gaming machine, you can pretty much drive a forestry machine this day. But the planning and such like, there's all this different suite of jobs. A really good question, thank you.
Thanks, Steve. That was amazing, especially the information about all the careers and the development of that. I work at a school. I work in a high school, Colne Primmett Academy, over in Colne, and my job is to develop outdoor learning. I work therapeutically with the young people, and I'm just wondering, we have a lot of young people who would really like to work outdoors, find it very difficult working in the classrooms. How would you encourage them and also the staff and maybe the powers that be higher up to be able to do a lot more land-based learning and that kind of thing?
One thing I would say is go on the Woodland Trust website. There's absolute wealth of free activities for children at school and outside of school, and just even for yourselves, going doing leaf ID, fungi ID, all kinds of stuff. It generally is it's like an untapped bit of knowledge that's there that you don't have to be a member of to go and have a look at it. And then I'd maybe talk to Lancashire Wildlife Trust. And maybe get them to come along and talk as well. They've got some great field officers. They do some amazing work with rehabilitation with people who've had drug and alcohol abuse and addiction, getting them back out doing things. When you grow something from seed or from a little plant, it does something inside to you. It changes you. Because you've nurtured that along, it kind of makes you feel good. And if we get the children growing, one of the favourite things we've done with our scouts is getting them growing cold rabbi and chopping it up with knives, right, and then feeding them as raw little sticks. And then the mums and dads come at end and they go, what have they been eating, you say? And first of all they go, what's that? Because never heard of it. You go, it's alien veg. We've had them eating alien veg. And then they go, he doesn't eat veg, you know. He'll only eat frozen sweet corn. Oh, no, he won't. He's had carrots, he's had raw broccoli, they go, oh, she. And they go, really?